What is up, everybody? My name is Jester IRL, and I think most of you probably found my channel via No Man's Sky, where I showed you everything from small, efficient resource collection builds to how to fight through the ridiculous levels of random number generation Hello Games insists on putting into all of their technology modules for your ship, your exosuit, and for your multi-tool. Others may have found me through the Long Dark, where I showed you some simple tips and tricks from a new player for new players to help get you started, as well as collecting 72 climbing ropes. For whatever reason, they were there, we did it, it was a lot of fun. I don't think anybody else in the world has ever done that. But unfortunately, those games have kind of bored me here lately, and I know Long Dark has had an update here recently, and I will get back to that, but about 2 months ago I decided I wanted a new challenge. So I started looking through my Steam list, and I found a game I bought 5 years ago and never gave a shot because I always assumed it was going to be better to play with a group. That is this game, Conan Exiles. And I'm happy to say that I've never been more wrong about a game in my life. This is completely playable as a solo player, and as soon as I went into just a small private server and started tinkering around with spawning stuff in and some building, I knew I was going to be hooked on this game. So I decided to go to a public server, this server actually, official 1520. But what I found was nobody really looked at the game like I did here. Sure, people tried to be pretty helpful, but nobody understood the numbers and the math and the mechanics and how things actually worked. And it's really not for me. I want to understand those things so I can bring it to you. So that's why today I'm giving up everything on 1520, and I'm going to be going back to a solo player server just so I can show you guys many different things that I've learned in my 2-month journey thus far in Conan Exiles. Now just know that I'm not claiming to be an expert, but everything that I'm going to tell you today in our base place video helped me get through the early stages of the game and even through the mid stages, and I think it might help you guys too. So grab a little popcorn, sit back, because we got a lot to talk about. Let's get into it. As you start Conan Exiles, you're naked and afraid like you are in so many other survival games, and in this case we're in the desert, and the game is going to ask you to do certain what they call journey steps. This is going to serve as your basic tutorial. It's going to show you how to craft your gear, your weapons, your tools, all of those type of things, a little bit of hunting, a little bit of cooking, just the basic stuff for survival. It usually takes about 10 or 15, 20 minutes. Just go ahead and blast through these. One word of advice, though, as you're doing these things, don't do anything until you are prompted to do so. If you have stones in your inventory that you collected before they told you to grab stones, you'll have to do it again to satisfy the journey step because it just doesn't count. So just know that just kind of follow them in order. Again, they take 15 or 20 minutes, and it's really not that big a deal. With those initial journey steps out of the way, and believe me, you're going to unlock a ton more journey steps after you complete this first set, but just know a lot of those can't be completed until you've progressed a little bit in the game. I would personally set that aside a little bit. You're probably going to find yourself in the H3 or H4 area after you complete those first ones. We're going to be traveling over to the J5 grid on your map to a place that I have dubbed Noob Island, because it's just an absolute treasure trove between that and the surrounding areas of things that you're going to need to really get yourself a great start in Conan Exiles. Once you arrive at Noob Island, the first thing I like to do is go ahead and set down a bedroll and a campfire. This way I have a means of respawn as well as a way to cook some food. And the next thing you're going to notice is this place is just loaded with basic tier 1 natural resources. Plenty of fiber to go around, lots of trees, plenty of stones that you can hack down into basic stones. It's just a great spot to where you're going to be able to build your starter base, which doesn't need to be very big at this point, out of sandstone, as well as the basic benches that you're going to need to advance your gear, weapons, tools, all those type of things. And most of those resources are going to be right here, either on the island or very close by in the surrounding area. So this is just, like I said, a wonderful place to really get started. For anyone that might have concerns about food on this island, don't. There is multiple sources of food. The first of which are going to be these shalebacks, these green ones. And they're a little bit tricky because they will, as soon as you attack one of them, if the others are too close, they will come at you as a group. And in the early stages of the game, that can pretty much get you killed. But again, your bedroll is just right around this corner there. So recovering your gear is not going to be too difficult. Once you bring one of these guys down, if you hit them with a skinning knife, you're going to get more hide. If you hit them with your stone cleaver, you're going to get savory flesh. This can be put into the campfire and turned into grilled steak. So pretty much an endless source of both hide and meat. So really not a big problem. The second type of shellback that is on this island is going to be the one I'm going to show you here, which is that red nesting type shellback. They are protecting a nest that does have eggs, and the eggs are a source of food early in the game. It's probably better served to wait on the eggs, though, because we don't have refrigeration, nor the crafting recipes for the higher-end foods. Those are going to be much better heals down the road. But just know that the red shellback attacks based on proximity to that nest. You get too close, it will attack you. If you go to fight back, the normally peaceful green ones will then come and attack you as well. And that's, again, very easy at an early stage to get overwhelmed. Now, just know as you get leveled up, these guys are all pushovers, and it's just a really easy, quick source of both hide and food. Literally just around the corner from where our shellbacks are going to be spawning, you'll find this protected little lagoon. And here, on top of the additional trees, stone, fiber that you're going to find, are a couple of other really good resources. The first of which is going to be that lizard right over there. There's usually 2 or 3 of them in the area. And these guys are considerably tougher, though, than the shellbacks. About 3 times the hit points. At between 240 and 250. Kind of just depends on the animal. But when you hit these guys and kill them, if you use your pick, you're going to get more bone and ichor. Now, bone can be put into a grinder to make bone meal, so you can make compost to grow things. Ichor is going to be used mainly later for alchemy base, but there are a few limited uses when it comes to ichor, so you may need some, and it's never too early to start collecting. If you use your butcher's cleaver, feral flesh is going to be what you get. You put that into the campfire, you're going to get shredded roast, another good food source. And if you use your skinning knife, you're going to get reptile hide, which goes into a tanner's table, and then you can actually turn that directly into hide and then into leather. So another good source for that. Another good part about this area is going to be the NPC over here that spawns. Now, this is always going to be a named fighter. It's not going to be one of the best fighters in the game or anything, but in the early stages, it can actually really be useful for some of the fights we're going to be getting into in the next part of this video, actually, to have somebody on your side. Now, just remember, you're going to need to have the Wheel of Pain unlocked, as well as a truncheon crafted in order to knock this guy out. But again, it's always nice to have a friend to help you do these fights. So just know he's there, and there'll be different variants, different names that spawn, but it's always going to be there. And even though it shows a 1 skull boss, it's absolutely thrallable. Just a short swim across the river from our base place is going to be this stuff, this discolored rock. This is actually going to be ironstone. And what we're going to be doing with this is getting to that next level of gear, weapons, tools. You're going to need a furnace in order to smelt this down. However, you're going to need it for your armor and for your next set of weapons. So, especially your tools, because the higher level tools that you get, the better yield you're going to end up getting when you hit things like ironstone and other things down the road. So this is just such a good spot. If you're playing on a public server, just know this is probably going to be a pretty contested area, because as far as along the Noob River and the southern area of the map, this is one of the better concentrations of ironstone. It not only appears down here on the coast, but there's a lot up there on that hill, and there's quite a bit up here on this hill as well. And it's just a really, really good place to get yourself iron independent to take you into that next level of the game. For the next part of this little video showing you why this is such a good base place, I'm actually going to go into God mode, and we're going to fly up here, and I'm going to show you that there is this little village, this little encampment here, that all of these are going to be thrallable except for the one person up here, which is the jailer. But this jailer is going to have a key for this actual cage, and sometimes there can be a free thrall inside that cage. There's 5 enemies up here. There's one over here on the little cliff side, 2 at the fire, 1 down below, and then there's an archer. There's also some loot that can be grabbed. And then you can also dismantle any of the loot in the dismantler. That's going to help you get some extra resources as well. This is just a really good place to come up, kind of check your strength and learn to fight. And it's just great for experience points. Now, going up further up the hill, there is a continuation of this little encampment. And here is where it really gets interesting, because not only is there going to be not one, not two usually, but 3 sorcerer spawns. So if they tend to bring back the Sorcerer Skull event, this is a great spot to loot that. But when you kill a sorcerer, they also drop little supplies. And the higher end sorcerers, you can get sorcerer spell pages. Those are going to be necessary for advancing when you want to get into sorcery and magic. And if you don't want to do that, it's a wonderful source and a dismantler for black blood. So just lots of experience points to be had here, as well as a tier 4 named fighter, Tarman, who again is not going to be the greatest thrall in the entire world, but again, early game, having help is always extremely useful. So might be something you can come up here, kill everybody else, knock this guy out, and you'll have a really good helper when you come back through here again. It'll be Tarman killing Tarman, which is kind of interesting. But you can run through here again every 15 or 20 minutes, and it's just a great source of XP, and also a good challenge to see where you're at strength-wise. The next to last reason that I believe that this is the best starter location for a brand new player in Conan Exiles is going to be just down the hill here from Tarman's birth. And right around the corner, you can see the statue there in the background from our little starter island. And that's going to be this area here that has tons and tons of shalebacks. If you come up the hill here a little bit, there's also some gazelles that you can take for savory meat. It's just such a great spot. But there's 2 other features here that make this excellent for collection. One, there's about 15 or 20 different nests. They're going to have 2 to 3 eggs in them apiece. So if you wanted to use eggs as your main food source, come through here, collect them. You can get them in bulk pretty easily. There's also going to be another type of shaleback over here, the demonic shaleback, who is considerably tougher than his red and green counterparts, but he doesn't drop savory meat. What this one drops when you hit him with a cleaver is going to be exotic flesh, and that is going to be put into a campfire for roasted haunch, which will give you slightly better per tick heals when it comes to food heals, but it's also a main component in a lot of the upper level food recipes that you're going to collect as you go throughout this game, as well as the eggs that you can collect in bulk here. And sometimes that's kind of a hard place to find in bulk, is those eggs, and then especially without refrigeration, they're difficult to store. But just know these nests are everywhere over here, and if you want to make a stack of really good foods, this is going to be a great spot to come and collect that. There's also alligators and crocodiles here where you can test out your strength. It's just such a wonderful, wonderful place. And it's all within a very short walking distance of where we're going to be building our first base. The final reason as to why I believe this is the best starter location for a brand new player in Conan Exiles, and it shouldn't go unmentioned. I'm not going to give away the lore behind it, but just know there is a sandstorm/maelstrom that will originate in the unnamed city, and it will head south all the way across Noob River. And as a new player with very little health, if you get caught in this thing, it will kill you. So we are currently far enough east where we can just kind of sit and watch this thing roll by. It's kind of a beautiful sight, and knowing that we're completely safe. I just love this location for so many reasons, and like I said, this one shouldn't go unmentioned because it's a pretty big one if you really stop and think about it. Hopefully this information is going to help out new players as well as experienced players get a great start in whatever server they come into in Conan Exiles. Originally, I had planned on giving you a second base location in this video, but I did want to make sure that we were very descriptive about all the different things and resources that you could get in this location, and we've gone a little bit long, so that's going to be our next one, the next iteration of the base place, for when you get to this point and you need to start getting into that next tier of tools and weapons. And I will have that out very soon. By the time you guys get to this location and get leveled up, I promise you that's going to be live on my channel. If you are into that, definitely hit the subscribe button and like the video because it definitely helps in the algorithm. And if you're going to be playing Dune Awakenings, subscribe now because we're going to be doing this kind of thing there as well. Very much looking forward to that. But in the meantime, I'm really enjoying Conan Exiles. Till next time, guys, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.